Have you ever listened to a fluent English speaker and thought, wow, they make it sound so easy? It's not always about using big, complicated words. More often, it's about knowing the right phrases that make your speech sound natural, confident, and smooth. Today, I want to share with you some of the most useful English phrases that can instantly boost your fluency. Phrases that native speakers use every single day, often without even thinking about it. Let's start with filler phrases. Those small expressions that help you sound more natural when you need a second to think. For example, you know what I mean? Let me put it this way. Well, to be honest, at the end of the day, these aren't just space fillers. They help you connect ideas, show emotion, and keep the conversation flowing. Next, let's look at phrases for agreeing and disagreeing politely, something many learners struggle with. Instead of just saying, I agree, you can say, that's a good point. I couldn't agree more. That makes sense. And when you disagree, you don't need to be blunt. Try, I see where you're coming from, but. That's one way to look at it, however. I'm not so sure about that. See the difference? These phrases soften your tone and make your English sound much more fluent and respectful. Another area to focus on is phrases for giving opinions or making suggestions like, why don't we? Have you considered? In my opinion. And let's not forget the magic of linking phrases, which help you connect thoughts naturally. Phrases like, on the one hand, on the other hand. That being said, as a result. In other words, these small tools make a huge impact. They turn simple sentences into connected, flowing speech. Now, of course, we can't talk about sounding fluent without touching on small talk, the art of casual conversation. Imagine you're meeting someone for the first time. You don't want to jump into a deep discussion right away. That's where phrases like, so, what do you do? How's your day going? Have you been here before? Come into play. These phrases open doors to conversation and help you build rapport quickly. The truth is, fluency isn't just about speaking quickly or having a big vocabulary. It's about using the right expressions in the right situations. It's about sounding natural, confident, and most importantly, understood. And as we move forward, we'll explore even more of these expressions, especially those that help you handle real-life situations like ordering food, making a phone call, asking for help, or even navigating a job interview. In fact, let's dive into the next set of phrases, the ones you'll need when you're dealing with everyday conversations, starting with phrases for everyday conversations, the kind you need when you're just going about your daily life. Let's begin with phrases for asking for help or information. Whether you're in a store, on the street, or traveling in a new city, these phrases are essential. Excuse me, could you help me, please? Do you happen to know where the nearest bank/supermarket/etc. is? I'm looking for. Would you mind showing me? These expressions are polite, friendly, and natural, and using them makes you sound much more fluent than simply saying, where is this? Or help me. Now, imagine you're at a restaurant. Here are some phrases for ordering food. Could I see the menu, please? What do you recommend? I'll have the dish name, please. Can I get this without onions? Could we have the bill, please? You can hear how polite and clear these are. And these are exactly the kind of phrases fluent speakers use without thinking twice. Let's also touch on shopping conversations, whether you're in a market or a mall. These are phrases that help. How much is this? Do you have this in a different size/color? Is there a discount on this item? I'm just looking, thank you. And for those working or planning to work in an English-speaking environment, you'll need phrases for the workplace such as, let me check on that and get back to you. Can we schedule a quick meeting? I just wanted to follow up on. That's a great point. Let's explore that further. Each of these adds fluency and professionalism to your tone. They also help you communicate effectively without sounding too direct or too passive, which is key in professional settings. Next up is something we all deal with, phone conversations. This is often one of the hardest areas for language learners because you don't have body language to help. But with the right phrases, you'll sound confident even on the phone. Hi, this is your name speaking. Could I speak to name? please? I'm calling about. Can you hear me okay? Thanks for holding. Learning these set expressions helps you manage phone calls smoothly, and they also save you time and stress, especially when your mind goes blank mid-conversation. But here's the thing. Knowing the phrases is only half the job. The other half is knowing how and when to use them naturally, in rhythm with your tone, emotion, and context. That's when you stop sounding like someone who learned English and start sounding like someone who lives in English. So, how do we practice these phrases in a way that builds real fluency? That's what we're going to explore next. Practical techniques to remember, use, and master these phrases in your daily life, such as shadowing, spaced repetition, real-life interaction, and context-based learning. Let's start with one of the most powerful methods, shadowing. This is when you listen to a fluent speaker, maybe in a podcast, YouTube video, or movie, and try to repeat what they say at the same time like an echo. The goal isn't just to mimic the words, but to copy the rhythm, intonation, and natural flow of the phrases. For example, if you hear, "Let me double check and get back to you on that," you don't just memorize the words. You practice saying them out loud with the same tone and speed as the native speaker. This builds both your muscle memory and your fluency. Then there's spaced repetition, a technique used to remember phrases over the long term. This is where apps like Anki or Quizlet can help. Instead of cramming 100 phrases in one day and forgetting them the next, you review them in small doses over time. Your brain loves repetition, but not all at once. Another key technique is context-based learning. Don't just learn phrases in isolation. Learn them in real-life situations. For example, don't just memorize, "Can I get the bill, please?" Actually use it when you're at a restaurant. Don't just study, "What do you recommend?" Say it next time you're unsure what to order. Don't just read, "I'm looking for a jacket." Try saying it out loud the next time you walk into a store. Why is this important? Because when your brain connects a phrase to a real moment, it sticks. It becomes part of your active vocabulary, not just your passive memory. And of course, nothing beats real-life interaction. Whether it's a conversation partner, a tutor, a language exchange buddy, or even just someone online, the more you use these phrases, the more fluent you become. And don't worry about making mistakes. Every fluent speaker once said something awkward. Mistakes are part of the process. In fact, they're how you grow. Now, here's something many learners don't realize. Fluency isn't always about what you say. Often, it's about how confidently you say it. Even simple phrases, when said with clarity and confidence, can make you sound fluent. Compare these two. Maybe I want the chicken, versus, "I'll have the chicken, please." Same idea. Totally different effect. The second one sounds fluent, not because it's complex, but because it's clear, smooth, and natural. So, fluency is a combination of useful phrases, real practice, and consistent confidence. And the more you expose yourself to these expressions by listening, speaking, reading, and writing, the more naturally they'll become part of your voice. Now that we've looked at techniques for learning and remembering phrases, the next step is applying these phrases in specific real-life situations. Let's talk about how to use fluent English in common, real-world contexts like traveling, making appointments, attending interviews, socializing, and handling emergencies. These are moments where knowing the right phrase can make all the difference, not just in getting things done, but in sounding confident and fluent while doing it. Let's start with traveling, whether you're at the airport, hotel, or just trying to get around a new city. Here are some phrases that help you navigate smoothly. Where can I check in for my flight? Is this the gate for flight 302 to London? Could I get a window seat, please? Can I leave my bags here for a few hours? Is there a good place to eat nearby? Using complete, polite sentences like these, instead of just one-word questions like toilet or taxi, makes you sound fluent, capable, and respectful. Now let's move to making appointments, whether it's with a doctor, a dentist, or a business meeting. I'd like to schedule an appointment for next week. Is there anything available on Friday afternoon? Could we reschedule our meeting to a later date? How long will the appointment take? These are phrases that show you can handle logistics and communicate clearly, which is a core part of everyday fluency. Next, let's touch on one of the biggest fluency moments for many people: job interviews. This is where using the right phrases not only helps you communicate, it helps you compete. Try expressions like, I have experience in. I'm particularly proud of the time when. One of my strengths is. I'm currently looking for a role where I can. These phrases help you build clear, confident answers. And because they're flexible, you can adapt them to almost any question you're asked. Now, of course, English is also a social language. So let's look at phrases for making friends and socializing. So, what do you do for fun? That sounds interesting. Tell me more. How did you get into that? It's been really nice talking to you. These expressions help build rapport. They show curiosity, warmth, and openness, all signs of someone who's not just fluent, but personable. And finally, let's look at something that many people overlook: handling unexpected or difficult situations in English. Emergencies, misunderstandings, or moments when things don't go as planned. Here are some phrases that help. I'm not sure I understand. Could you explain that again? There's been a mistake with my booking. I need help right away. It's urgent. Can I speak to someone in charge? Even in high-stress situations, being able to express yourself clearly, without panic, is a powerful sign of fluency. Now, as you can see, each of these situations has its own set of key phrases. But there's one thing they all have in common. They rely on your ability to think in English, not just translate from your native language. So in the next part of our journey, we're going to dive into how to train your brain to think in English, and how that shift can take you from just speaking English to truly living it. It starts with small steps, like immersing yourself in English daily, even if just for a few minutes. Try to talk to yourself in English, describe what you're doing, or narrate your thoughts as you go through your day. Instead of translating in your head, practice thinking directly in English. You can also surround yourself with English content. Watch movies, listen to podcasts, read books or articles that interest you. The more you expose yourself to the language in real contexts, the more natural it will become. Another powerful tip is to practice speaking regularly, even if it's just with a language partner, tutor, or an online community. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Every slip-up is a step forward on your path to fluency. Remember, fluency is a journey, not a destination. It's about building habits, gaining confidence, and connecting with others through language. When you master these key phrases and train your mind to think in English, you won't just sound fluent, you'll feel fluent. So keep practicing, stay curious, and embrace every opportunity to use English in your daily life. The more you do, the more natural it will become.